Alright, welcome to Coding 101, where we're going to take a look today at the Amazing Sentence Machine Part 3. In this particular video, we're going to take a look at how to find the total number of times a word is found in an input sentence. So, how would I do that? Well, first thing we want to do is think about how logically I would approach this problem. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. What I'm going to do is look at how I personally would do it if I was finding a word in an article or a paragraph, and then try and mimic that same behavior in the code that I'm going to create. So let's say I have this sentence here. Please enter a word to find in the sentence. And I want to find en, because that's in here a couple of times. So if I was looking for the word en, what I would do, and I was going to try and count it, I'd start at the beginning, and I'd go one character at a time until I found, oh, here's an en, I found it, I'd go once. And then I'd keep on looking until I got to, oh, here's another en, I found it again, keep on looking, and so on. So basically what I'm doing is I'm doing some sort of a loop here where I'm going to go and check characters until I get to the end of the sentence. So if I know I'm going to do a loop, the first question I need to ask myself is, well, what type of loop does this need to be? Do we want it to be a for loop, or do we want it to be a while loop? And if you remember, the difference between the two is that a for loop goes for a certain number of times, and a while loop goes until some condition is met. So in this case, I know the number of times I want to loop. I want to loop for every letter that is in this sentence. So depending on the length of the sentence, that would be the number of times I want to loop. So I can set that up as a for loop. And I declare my counter variable here. I'm going to call it x, although it may be simpler if you want to call it character to keep you remember of what you're doing here. But I want to start at x, and I'm going to start at the very beginning of my sentence, so that will be position 0. And I want to keep searching until I get to the end of my sentence. So while x is less than sentence dot length. And now remember, I got to make sure it's less than. I don't want to go less than or equal to sentence dot length, because if I said less than or equal to sentence dot length, I'd be looking at this position right here. Remember, position counting starts at 0. So if this was, say I was looking at just this word, this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's position 5, but this actually has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So with a length of 6, the last position is position 5. If I said I was going to go up to and including the length of it, then I'd be looking for this mysterious position 6 that doesn't exist. So I only want to go while I'm less than the length of the sentence. And then what I want to do here is I want to increase my size by 1. So I'm going to go one character at a time. Now the next question is, what do I want to do? What do I want to repeat over and over again? Well, what I want to repeat over and over again is I want to check to see if what I find inside here is the same as the word that I'm looking for. Okay, so that means if I'm doing an if statement, I got to have an if statement set up. So if my word is the same, and remember, because this is a string, I have to use dot equals. I can't use equals equals because that is going to check to see if the actual strings are the same physical string, as opposed to are the contents of the string the same. So I'm going to use dot equals here. So I want to know if this is equal to the portion of my sentence that I'm looking at. So that if I'm looking at a portion of a sentence, that means I must be talking about a substring of a sentence. So sentence dot substring. And now I need to provide where the beginning and the ending of my substring is. So what I want to start at is I want to start at wherever I am in the sentence. So starting at position 0, and then the second time I look from position 1, and so on. And how long is the substring I'm looking at? Well, the length of the substring I'm looking at is going to be the same as the length of the word here. So it's going to be going up to x plus word dot length. Okay, so let's say I was at this position here looking. I'd be at position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, starting at position 7, going up to position 8. So this is 7 plus 2, right? So 7 plus 2 would be 9. We remember we go up to, but not including that ending. So it would be 7 plus 2 is 9. So I'd go 7 and 8 only. So that's what I'm looking for here. Now, if this is true, a lot of brackets here. If this is true, what do I want to do? Well, what I want to do is increase the number of times I've found the word. That means I need a new variable. And that's going to be an integer variable. So number, we'll call it number words found. The number of times word is found in sentence. Okay, and obviously this has to start out as being equal to 0. I can't have any value when I start, so I can set that initial value up here at the beginning, and then all I need to do down here, number words found, goes up by 1. So if I compile this and run it, let's see what's going to happen here. Oh, right. When I'm done, I got a little warning here saying that I've not used number words found anywhere. So I got to make sure I print out my answer. Otherwise, it's going to be doing this loop and nothing happens, right? So c.println, and I'll say word, because I want to make this nice and user friendly in my output, is found number words found times in the sentence. Okay, let's give this a shot now. Sound good? There's no warnings down here. We can run it. So I like to eat apples and bananas, and I'm going to search for AN when I run this. So character 22, we found AN, and uh-oh, we have a situation here where we have an error that just popped up. So let's see what one happened down here. It says I've got a string index out of bounds exception. Specifically, the string index is out of range, looking at position 34. And if I scroll down a little bit for here, it says that happened at line 37 of my sentence machine program. So I'm going to go and try and find line 37. So you look down here, it says I'm at line 37 down here. So this is line 37 of my code. So somewhere in here, I've gone for string index out of range. That means I'm looking at position 34 when there aren't 34 positions to find. So I've gone beyond what I'm looking at. And I think what the problem is here is when I'm searching for my string, I'm actually searching beyond the end of my sentence. So I'm trying to compare to a substring that goes beyond the end of my sentence. So if you think about it, if I'm looking for a word that is 2 characters long, and I start at this last character here, I try to go 2 characters past that, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to go beyond the length of my sentence, so I can't get a substring that goes past this last character. So that means that my overall sentence length, the finishing position, has to be adjusted somehow. I don't want to go to the end of the sentence. I want to go to the end of the sentence minus the length of my word, because if my word that I'm looking for is 2 characters, that means that if I only have 1 character at the end, it can't possibly be the same as the 2 characters that I'm looking for. So I'm going to make the sentence.length, I'm going to make it minus word.length. And we'll see if this solves our problem or not. So we compile and we'll try it again. So I like to eat apples and bananas. And we're looking for AN. And look at that, it says found 3 times. So let's scroll through. We got 1 here, 2, 3, and it works. Perfect. That's it. We'll see you next time in our Coding 101, where we're going to take a look at how to display all the sentence with all the A's converted into E's. So I like to eat green apples and bananas.